Imagínate nacer completamente normal, pero a los 19 meses te da una enfermedad que te deja sordo, mudo, pero te terminas graduando de la universidad. Quédate con nosotros para entrenar el oído en inglés mientras hablamos de esta historia basada en la vida real. Si te llama la atención este tipo de videos, danos un me gusta, ayúdanos a compartir, suscríbete al canal y quédate al final porque te tenemos tarea.
Childhood. Helen was born in 1880 in a small town in Alabama in the United States. When she was a baby, everything was normal. She could see and she could hear. But when she was only 19 months, she became very sick. Doctors thought it was scarlet fever or maybe meningitis.
Scarlet fever was a common illness for children in the past. It gave people a very high fever, a sore throat, and a red skin rash. Today, doctors can cure it with antibiotics, but back in the day, it was very dangerous. Meningitis is another serious illness. It is an infection of the brain and the spinal cord. It often causes deafness, blindness, and sometimes even death.
Imagine being a little child, not able to see your mother's face, not able to hear her voice. Helen felt lost, confused, and very frustrated.
Growing up.
Because she couldn't speak or understand words. Helen created her own simple signs with her hands. Sometimes her family understood her, but most of the time they didn't. This made Helen angry. She often had tantrums.
A tantrum is when a child cries, screams, kicks because they cannot express themselves.
Her parents wanted to help her. So when Helen was about 7 years old, they decided to find a teacher for her. Her name was Anne Sullivan.
Anne Sullivan arrives.
Anne was young, only 20 years old. She also had problems with her eyes when she was little, so she understood what it was like to live with difficulties. When Anne arrived at Helen's home in 1887, everything began to change. Anne used a new method. She took Helen's hand and with her finger she spelled words. For example, she put Helen's hand under running water, and at the same time she spelled into her other hand, W-A-T-E-R. At first, Helen didn't understand, but then suddenly she made a connection. She realized that the letters Anne was spelling meant the cool liquid touching her hand. That was her breakthrough.
A breakthrough is a big moment of progress after many struggles.
From that moment, Helen's mind opened. She wanted to know the name of everything around her.
Learning and education.
Anne worked with Helen patiently every single day. She taught her words, sentences, and ideas. Helen learned to read using Braille.
Braille is a system of raised dots that enables blind and visually impaired people to read and write by filling the patterns with their fingers.
She even learned how to speak. Her voice was not clear, but she practiced and practiced, and she could be understood. Anne was not only her teacher, she became Helen's guide, her friend, and her constant support.
Achievements.
Helen grew up to be a very determined woman.
Determined means she didn't give up even when life was very hard.
In 1904, she graduated from Radcliffe College, one of the top universities of that time. She became the first deaf-blind person to receive a college degree. After college, Helen became famous all over the world. She wrote books, gave speeches, and inspired millions of people. She also fought for the rights of people with disabilities.
A disability is a condition that makes life more difficult, such as not being able to see, hear, walk, etc.
But Helen didn't stop there. She also worked for women's rights, for education, and even for world peace.
Legacy.
Helen Keller lived until 1968. She proved that with courage, patience, and love, even the biggest challenges could be overcome.
Y ahí está esta historia de superación. De verdad que si uno tiene las ganas de hacer algo, lo logra. Y por eso también te la trajimos hoy a esta clase, porque si tú quieres aprender inglés, lo aprendes. Muchas veces te van a estar criticando, y te lo he dicho en muchos videos. Te van a criticar porque sí, te van a criticar porque no, porque tienes acento y porque no tienes acento. No importa, tú da lo mejor de ti y aprende el inglés. La idea es poderte comunicar. Yo no he tenido estadounidenses que me critiquen el inglés directamente y que me hagan sentir incómoda por cómo hablo inglés, jamás. Pero de pronto cuando ya empecé a sacar los videos en las redes sociales, sí hay gente que hace esos comentarios de, pero tú tienes acento. Por supuesto que tengo acento, estoy súper orgullosa, pero la idea es que tú no te dejes bajar la moral a la hora de aprender inglés. Sí se puede si tú pones el esfuerzo, pones el tiempo y la dedicación. El punto es que no te dejes desanimar a la hora de aprender un idioma. Si fuera tan fácil aprender un idioma, pues todo el mundo estaría hablando inglés, ¿sí o no? Y no es el caso. Así de que tú ya estás en este proceso de aprender inglés, ten presente que no siempre vas a recordar todas las palabras que estás aprendiendo. Es decir, pueda que escuches hoy un término, una palabra, una frase, y no necesariamente quiere decir que automáticamente se te va a quedar grabado por el resto de la vida. Muchas veces tú tienes que estar tomando nota y repasando para poder recordar qué es lo que estás estudiando. Y yo sé que hay muchas personas que llevan años estudiando inglés y de repente se les baja la moral porque dicen, llevo muchos años estudiando y todavía siento que no soy fluido con el idioma, pero eventualmente vas a ver que tu cerebro va a hacer clic y vas a empezar a hablar el inglés y tú vas a decir, wow, yo ni siquiera sabía que podía decir estas cosas. Pero de todas maneras es muy importante que seas consistente con el tema de tu aprendizaje. Es decir, estudia todos los días, porque si estudias hoy y luego vuelves a estudiar en 5 días, pues lo que aprendas hoy en 5 días ya no lo vas a recordar. En cambio, si estudias todos los días, pues lo que estudies hoy lo vas a reforzar mañana y el día siguiente y todo se va quedando en esa memoria. No te dejes desanimar. Acá está la tarea para ti. Presta atención.
Why was Helen Keller considered a very determined person?
Déjanos saber la respuesta en los comentarios